Hello and welcome to this month's Patreon exclusive tutorial. We will be painting the African penguin in the Daniel Smith Primatech range, but it's really applicable to any other watercolors if you like. I'm just using the Daniel Smith Primatech range for this gorgeous granulation property, obviously being made from natural resources like rocks and minerals. The pigment molecules are slightly larger, so with water it is inclined to separate more, and it just gives a texture that you can't really achieve with traditional watercolors, or it's slightly more exaggerated texture, should I say. For this first foundation wash layer, I'm using the Burnt Scarlet, the Hematite Burnt Scarlet Genuine, and I'm just doing a light wash over the entire body of the penguin, so basically just covering everything. And once I've laid this all in, I'm going to just lift in certain areas where I'd like to have it lighter. For the lifting technique, I simply rinse off my brush, wipe it off on a paper towel, and then I just drag it through gently the sections that I want to lift off. So rinse off, I wipe off on the paper towel, and then I just drag it along the section where I want to lift up any of that wet pigment. In the beak, I'm adding a light wash of the Hematite Genuine. That is the darker sort of black color, but this one is a particularly nice color for its granulation. So the more water you add, the greater that disbursement is. One thing I find with the Primatech range is that the colors are more inclined to lift. So once they've dried, you can reactivate them with a bit of water and then use your brush, as we did in the previous layer while it was damp, to lift again. So all I'm doing here is adding in a bit of water where I need to lighten ever so slightly, a little bit more, and once that paint is reactivated, I just use my brush to drag through and lift that pigment up into my brush. I have a fairly strong mixture of the Hematite Genuine ready to go, and I'm going to use this now to paint in the darkest darks of my penguin's wings, and yeah, basically anywhere that there is black, I'm coming to paint that in. In these sections of the wing where there's some lightness, I'm painting in the whole wing wherever the black is, and I'm just leaving those sections open. I'll come back and add in a lighter layer in a moment. onto this section underneath the left wing. I'm painting the shadow that's on the body. So I've painted in the darkest part of the shadow, and then just for the lighter part of the shadow that's also under the wing, I'm going to rinse off my brush. I'm going to add quite a bit more water into my Hematite Genuine mix, and I'm going to get a lighter value to go in the underneath portion of that shadow. While I'm busy with this mid value, I'm going to start bringing it into the front portion of my penguin's body as well. So this is just a light wash of the Hematite Genuine, and I'm going to do a bit of interplay between laying paint down and then just picking up some clean water and spreading the pigment that's there over that area of the body. And obviously, you know, with the more water you add to this Permatex color specifically, the greater the disbursement of that pigment, so it's going to give it quite a beautiful texture. Picking up a little bit more of that burnt scarlet hematite color, and I'm going to just add that into the mix here, because when you are looking at the reference, you'll see that it's not just black and white, there are other colors in the mix as well. For this front left sort of band across the penguin's chest, I've actually mixed a little bit of the Hematite Burnt Scarlet in with the Hematite Genuine color. I'm going to start adding in a bit of the pinker color, and for that I'm using the Rhodonite Genuine from the Permatex range. I'm going to add it in around the eye section where you will see that in the reference, and maybe a little bit into his neck and the upper body as well. This is really nice and easy to paint, obviously with a limited color palette as well. You're not fiddling too much between your color recipes and all that. So I'm just coming in now with like final details on the penguin. I'm going to come and paint in the remaining black sections of the penguin, in his back area, and I'll bring into his face, in his beak, and then obviously down into his feet. And as the final step, I'll just add the dots into his body. To add a bit of a shadow in by his feet, I'm going to use the blue Apatite Genuine just to bring in a sort of ocean color, give him some context. And I'm going to gradient that color into a little bit of the Hematite Scarlet, the Hematite Burnt Scarlet color, which obviously is like a brown, so that'll be appropriate for our beach. Obviously that pigment is too dark, so I'm just going in with clean water, and it's going to create a beautiful wash. Adding in the spots into the body just finishes everything off, and yeah, so I'm happy. I might just do a once over, check that I'm happy with all the shadow values. Where I need to, like in this little leg section, I'm just going to add a little bit more and gently wash it out with a bit of water just to make it not so stark, a nice soft shadow. In the last section is just that wing, in the wings where I've left it quite light. I'm going to pick up a bit of the Hematite Burnt Scarlet, and I'm just going to paint through and glaze into those lighter sections. so that it is not as stark. It's really just meant to be highlight sections of the wing, but not in stark highlight, because those wings are quite black. Thank you so much for watching this tutorial of the African penguin. I really appreciate the support over here on Patreon. It's been an amazing opportunity for me to grow in this creative space and to be a sort of facilitator in your creative journey. Usually I share my tutorials at the beginning of every month, but this one has been a little bit late, and for that I'm really sorry. So thank you so much for your patience. And I will be back sooner than expected for the December tutorial, because I'll be going away to the Kalahari. I'm really excited, and I'm hoping to come back in the new year with amazing inspiration from our trip into Botswana. I hope you have a beautiful holiday season, and although I'll be back with a tutorial in just a few days, I do hope you have a beautiful holiday and a wonderful New Year celebration.